Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is D back again with another movie review for you guys, and this movie review is for the 1999 Stanley Kubrick directed film Eyes Wide Shut. Now, Eyes Wide Shut, I've seen it multiple times. I just watched it last night, which I believe was at least my third time watching the movie, but it's been before last night. It had been a while since I watched it, but I said, hey, I should go ahead and do a review for this movie since I've seen it enough and it's now relatively fresh in my mind. So, Eyes Wide Shut, directed by the late Stanley Kubrick, starring Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman. What this movie is about, Tom and Nicole play Bill and Alice, a elite, affluent, upper class New York City couple. Bill is a doctor, and Alice she's unemployed at the moment of the movie, but I think she mentioned something about at one point working in art galleries or something like that. But anyway, so the movie opens with them getting ready for a holiday party. They go to this holiday party. It's a very fancy Christmas party, just lots of Christmas lights. Actually, a pretty beautiful setup, really. So they go to this Christmas party. Bill is kind of flirting with a couple girls, just off in his own kind of, he's on his own. Alice is on her own. She's actually dancing with this wannabe kind of suave Lothario type figure who's just super focused on getting her into bed. And so they're doing their own thing at this party. A few things happen at the party. I won't actually go into, this isn't a spoiler-free review. I will say stuff that's kind of spoilerish, but I also am going to just skip certain things because I don't want to I'm not going to recite for you everything that happens in this movie. But, a few kind of sticky situations, scandalous situation arises at this party, but it gets relatively resolved. So they get home from this party and they end up falling into this conversation. They stumble into this conversation where Alice reveals to Bill that there was a time where she fantasized about this guy that she saw while her, Bill, and their daughter were out on a vacation, I guess. They were at a hotel somewhere. And she saw just a guy in passing that was also staying at the hotel. And she just, she started to fantasize about him. And she reveals to Bill that she was actually prepared to throw away her whole marriage, her kids, just her whole life she had built with Bill and their daughter. She was prepared to throw it all away for at least one night with this guy. So she reveals this to Bill, and Bill, he's a very red pill guy in this moment. He's blown away, shocked by what she's just revealed to him, because he has just kind of finished saying how women don't think like that. Women don't, he talks about how he has this kind of trust in her because he knows women don't think, quote unquote, think like that. And she drops this bombshell on him, and it kind of just, it blows him away because he had no idea that his wife was capable of having these kind of thoughts. And on a side note, me personally, I feel like he shouldn't have been surprised that this was a possibility. But he's actually very shocked that this is even a possibility for his wife. And so he kind of steps out into the New York City night in search of a sexual encounter to kind of deal with the feelings of jealousy and everything that he has now. He's kind of as he's taking taxis around town and stuff like that, he's having these kind of visions of his wife having sex with this guy. And now and it didn't actually happen, so he's just kind of creating a scenario in his head, actually, to really kind of torment himself with something that didn't actually even happen. And during the course of this night, he just runs into all kinds of characters and scenarios and situations, and he eventually finds himself at a secret society orgy sex party type thing that's happening at this big fancy kind of mansion type deal. And he gets more than he bargains for. He kind of gets in over his head, and I'll leave it at that. I won't go any deeper into details or anything like that. So what I thought about this movie, I actually liked this movie. I thought this movie was pretty intriguing, pretty interesting. I thought it's a great looking film. It has awesome atmosphere. and just the mood to it. I just really like the mood. It has a very dream-like, late-night, dreamy quality to it. And I appreciate that. It's a movie that it's set in our world, but it has a dream-like mood to it, where it's kind of like it's not quite reality. It's like it's set in reality, but you're not quite sure how much of it is complete reality and things like that. And I actually appreciate that, especially in this particular movie. I think it works well, and also just the way the movie actually ends lends itself to the dreamlike quality of the film, because so much of the conflict and the struggle, so to speak, in this movie is around stuff that didn't actually happen. It was around the thought of certain things happening, the temptation of certain things happening. But those things don't actually ever really happen in the movie. So the movie's interesting in that way, where the energy of the movie and of the emotions will make you think that somebody's been unfaithful. Somebody cheated. Either Bill cheated or Alice cheated, or Alice cheated and now Bill's about to go cheat on her. And, there's that type of energy to some of the things that are going on. But then you stop and you look at it and it's like, wait a minute, nobody actually did anything. It was all about people wanting to, or people having the fantasy about doing it, but then choosing not to. And, like I said, I'm going to kind of spoil a few things if you haven't seen this movie. And then even like Bill, he sets out into the night kind of with the intent to possibly get into something or do something, but he ends up actually never actually being unfaithful to his wife. And it's kind of an interesting thing after all of the shenanigans and the hoopla and theatrics and the thoughts and the mind games. At the end of the movie, they still both ended up not cheating on each other, in theory. And so it's kind of it's a funny thing how they kind of, so much who knew there could be so much drama about an infidelity that didn't actually occur, So it's kind of an interesting thing. At least to me it was. So, but my score for this movie, I'm gonna go 8 out of 10 for this film. Great kind of shot composition. I love the use of color and light that Stanley Kubrick uses in this. Just lots of Christmas lights, lots of glowing Christmas trees, and just visuals. This movie came out in July, but it's very much, to me, in my mind, a Christmas movie. This is something that could, be playing on the television screen during the month of December, and from a visual aesthetic perspective, it would make all the sense in the world to just have this movie playing in the background. I get it. It's kind of might be an ominous type film, or a little bit of a creepy type film to play just in the background during the Christmas time. But just from a visual perspective, this movie makes a whole lot of sense during the Christmas season. And just more kudos to Stanley Kubrick's craftsmanship. He's one of those directors where everything that's in his movies is there for a reason, and he means for it to be there. And I appreciate that. I appreciate all that craftsmanship. I appreciate a movie that, on my third viewing of the film, I'm learning something different. I'm noticing something that I never noticed the first 2 times I saw the movie. And that's what happened last night. There were little things and connections and patterns and all these type of things that I started to notice that for some reason I never noticed the first a couple times I watched the movie. And I'm one of those folks, I always felt I had a pretty good grasp on the movie. After the first time I saw it, and definitely after the second time, I always felt kind of like I had a good grasp on the movie. But watched it again last night and noticed things that I didn't notice before. So I really just appreciate, good filmmaking like that. So that's it, you guys. 8 out of 10 for Eyes Wide Shut. So much more could be said about this movie, but I don't want to ramble too much on talking about this, because I didn't really map out or plan out what I was going to say about this film. So it's better to say less, I suppose, than say too much. So that's it, you guys. As usual, until the next time, I will catch you on the next go round.